Hello there, IELTS students. Welcome to IELTS Podcast. You no longer have to worry, fret or panic about IELTS because we are here to guide you through this test jungle. Enjoy these IELTS tutorials, and if you need more help or want to access the famous online course, you can visit us at IELTSPodcast.com.
Hello there, it's Rob Buckinghamshire here and welcoming you all to another IELTS podcast. I hope you're all doing well out there and studying hard for your IELTS exam. Ben's not with me today, I'm all by myself, so I'll get started in a minute, but just to remind you who I am, if you haven't heard me before, I'm an ex-IELTS examiner who now does not only this podcast from time to time, but quite a lot of work on teaching and helping out IELTS candidates to get the highest grades they possibly can in their IELTS exam. So what are we going to do today? I thought we'd have a look at IELTS Writing Task 1, General Training. Yeah, you know the one, the letter. That's right, the letter itself. The one where you have to follow the instructions one by one to score high on task achievement. Now, one thing, perhaps the main thing, the examiners are looking out for is what they call the correct tone. Tone, T-O-N-E, tone. All that really means is whether we can use the right kind of language, the right expressions when we are writing to strangers or to friends or to, something in between, what we could call, acquaintances, people or institutions that are familiar with us but not really friends. I've chosen a recent IELTSPodcast.com post on IELTS Letter Task 1 writing topics. It's quite recent. I think it comes from last month or so, October 2022, a couple of months ago. And I've taken today one of the more formal examples, when we're writing to somebody we've never met before, a stranger, as it were. It's formal, it's distant, and your tone has to respect that. Here's the task. I'll read it through slowly. You can check this out later online and see the written version of this, but here is the task itself. You recently discovered that there are plans to build a new airport in your area, and you're not happy with it. Write a letter to the local authority. In your letter, say how you found out about the plans. Explain what problems your neighborhood will face. Suggest some possible solutions to these problems. It's classic, isn't it? It's you describe something, how you found out, explain something, what the problems are, and suggest solutions to those problems that you've mentioned. Now, what especially interests me today is how we start and finish a letter like this. A very strong start to your letter is vital. Any letter, in real life or in IELTS. Most people recommend, in fact, that we state in the first sentence information as to who we are and why we are writing. Now, in real life, if you like, in this particular case, we would undoubtedly name the area where we live right at the beginning and its proximity, its closeness to the new airport plan, as well as our general opinion with regard to this plan. All in the first sentence, or two perhaps. It's not necessary to state our name, because that would be at the end of the letter where we sign it. We're not happy in this letter, right? We're complaining. But that doesn't mean that we can be aggressive or impolite. In other words, we need to be polite, formal, and direct. When we think of politeness and formality in English or any other language really, the first thing that comes to my mind is what we call modality. I mean, all those verbs such as would, could, should, might, may, among other ones. So if I'm thinking of being direct at the same time, then there's one really great way to start our letter. Here it is. I am writing to you to, and then I'm going to put a verb. I'll say that again. I am writing to you to what? Well, to say that I'm not happy with something. How can I say that in a more formal way? Okay, let's try. Start again. I am writing to you to express my, oh my God, my what? I need a noun. I've got my verb. I'm writing to you to express something. Okay, at this point, I'm entering the world of synonyms. Okay, I'm not happy. Am I just going to use unhappiness? It's a noun, isn't it? Unhappiness? I'm not sure I like that one here because it sounds too subjective, too emotional. I'm trying to be a bit more distant, I'm not trying to get emotionally involved. I'm trying to be logical here. So how about a word like dissatisfaction or disappointment or disquiet? And they all begin with dis. Disappointment, dissatisfaction, and disquiet. Look, I cheated. All I did was to Google synonyms for unhappiness. And I got lots of sadness and sorrow and another word, despondency. And it made me feel I really needed to get in touch with a psychologist as soon as possible. So, I thought maybe the idea of being unhappy or dissatisfied with a decision made by others is where I should be looking. So I looked up dissatisfied instead of unhappy. And that's what it gave me. Dissatisfaction and some other synonyms. So, okay, let's continue. My sentence is now a little bit longer. What does it look like? I am writing to you to express my dissatisfaction with the... Okay, with the what? I need more nouns or expressions, not like that. It's getting easier though, isn't it? Because I've got the basic stuff. I've got the basic frame of it. All I need now is to mention the airport building plans. Here goes. I am writing to you to express my dissatisfaction with the plans to construct an airport. Where? I need a name. Right. I have to mention that I live in the area where they plan to build this airport. Should I give it a name to make it sound more authentic? Yeah, it's a good idea. Choose something simple in English. Something really simple. Why not something like high view or something with the word like as a suffix field in it? What about new field, green field? I don't know. Okay, doesn't matter. I'm going with high view. I've made my decision. High view. Here goes my sentence again. I am writing to you to express my dissatisfaction with the plans to construct an airport in the high view area where I live. Okay, I took the easiest way out. Nothing wrong with that. The simplest way. I've got a sentence. Of course. I'm immediately thinking of other ways to write this. I mean, what if I start out with mentioning where I live before going on to say how I feel? What if I change dissatisfaction to opposition, my opposition, or my objection? A little bit more I don't know, forceful, no? Because now I'm beginning to sound a bit more militant, a bit more political. Oh dear, is that what I'm looking for? I'm not sure. Am I part of a movement against these plans? Or am I just an individual who feels unhappy? I don't know. I mean, anyway, let's play around with this. Let's see what this one looks like. I begin again, but this time mentioning at the beginning where I come from or where I live. Listen, as a resident of the Highfield district, I am writing to you to express my objection to the proposal to construct an airport in the area. I like it. I'm having a good day with synonyms. I live there. I'm a resident, okay? You have plans, so another way to say that, you have proposals. Okay, that's pretty good. I like it. I have my opening sentence. Yeah, I decided that's my opening sentence. Okay, now I need to follow the 3 bullet points. That means me giving a couple of minutes before I start writing, thinking of the points to include. Brainstorming. I've got to tell you in my letter how I found out about these plans, what the problems are, and finally express some possible solutions. Okay, how did I find out? I read a press release from a local authority on their website. Okay? Press release from the authorities on their website. Problems for the neighborhood. Okay, got it. Listen, it's a quiet residential area. Many young children and elderly, old people. So we would have problems of noise, contamination, increased traffic, and at the moment the road system in the area is inadequate to handle the increase. Suggest some possible solutions. Okay. Got it. Listen. Seek an alternative site. Example, there is one 15 kilometers north of Highview. But, alternative solution, if not, build a bypass from the city centre to the airport, avoiding traffic through the main streets of Highview. A bypass, those roads that go around part of a city to avoid the centre of the city. Build a bypass. Okay, I think that's enough. It's enough. I mean, we only want to write a maximum of around 220 words. I know they tell us around 150, but we should always write a bit more, no? So we don't want too much information. Here I'm looking for clarity, being very clear, and my skill at connecting ideas together and the chance to show off some good vocabulary as well as some complex grammatical structures. I mean, that's all I'm looking for. This is a test. It's IELTS. It's not, as we've said, I think many times before, it's not real life. This is a chance for you to show your skills in English through the letter. Okay. As I said before, my main interest today is to show you how that all-important opening sentence and the ending to the letter are aspects for you to work on in preparing for the test. But anyway, I've also written, if you want to look at it or listen to it, the main part of the letter. Listen to this. I learnt of your aims recently when logging on to the council website and reading the press release, and was surprised that you had failed to consult the residents of the area beforehand. As you know, Highview is a residential zone with many families with school-aged children, as well as a considerable elderly population. An airport so close to their homes and schools would be extremely detrimental to their health because of atmospheric contamination and noise levels. Moreover, the fact that streets in Highview are narrow would cause terrible traffic congestion. Ooh, that's my second paragraph. My third paragraph would involve solutions. Okay. I would therefore suggest that you seek an alternative site. Might I recommend you to look into the Greenfield area, 15 kilometers to the north, which not only is flat but also very sparsely populated. However, if that option is not possible, you could consider constructing a bypass from the city centre to the airport, thus avoiding the main streets of Highview altogether. Okay, right. I have to finish the letter, respecting the tone. Well, I know that if I'm writing to someone I don't know, let's say that this letter, for example, is addressed to, I don't know, the planning committee, or perhaps to the head of the planning committee. I might even have his or her name, but it's unlikely I know that person. And so the traditional way to sign off or to finish a letter like this is with yours faithfully, and then on the next line, of course, my name. Okay? But before that, I want to politely say goodbye. Usually, a very good way to end a formal letter is with the expression, I look forward to something. That something can be a gerund, a verbal form, for example, I look forward to hearing from you. Or it can be a noun. I look forward to your reply, or I look forward to your comments. Also, here in the last part, if you really want to impress the examiner, how about making a proposal yourself in this last part? It would be your final suggestion. A nice idea would be to suggest a public meeting to discuss the plans. Remember, I mentioned that very earlier in the letter when I was expressing my surprise that they hadn't announced this to people or called to some kind of meeting, a consultation with the people before they made a decision behind our backs, as it were. So here goes this sentence. How do you think about this? What do you think? If I may, I would suggest that the council calls for a public meeting to discuss these proposals with local residents. I look forward to your reply, yours faithfully, and then, of course, your name underneath. Okay, well, it's always a tricky thing to write a letter to someone we don't know. It's a question, of course, of respecting the standards, the norms, and that's what the examiner is also going to look forward to. Wants to see how you handle those expressions. Many of those expressions are almost fixed. What I mean by that is that we use them again and again and again and again with some variations. You know, I look forward to your comments. I look forward to your reply. I look forward to your answer. I look forward to hearing from you. And also, of course, at the beginning, I am writing to you and it is a way to begin any letter to someone you don't know. To inform somebody, to express an opinion, to ask for information. We could make 100 letters, 200 letters with at that beginning, I am writing to you, in the context of formal tone, writing to strangers. Okay, so why don't you try this out yourself? I mean, it's there on the website, the IELTSPodcast.com, that area that I found the topic, recent posts concerning IELTS writing task 1, general training, recent examples. There are a whole list of them. That was the one I chose. There are many others there to choose, and I think it would be worthwhile practicing writing those, sending them in afterwards to IELTS Podcast, particularly AI Checker that Ben is so proud of these days. It seems to be working very, very well. Get your essay instantly checked, get immediate feedback, or get feedback from experts online at IELTSPodcast.com. Okay, well, that's all for today. I'll be speaking to you again. I'm sure of that, sooner rather than later. Please keep writing those essays, keep studying for your IELTS exam. Get in touch with IELTS Podcast with any issues, any problems. Take advantage of what they have to offer you. Take good care of yourself and keep studying, and good luck. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to IELTSPodcast.com.